Just say you consent.
I
Either or.
consent.
Okay.
Consent.
Yeah.
So we're currently recording, and my first question is just giving some demographic background information about yourselves as people.
I'm Jose, and I'm Dominican, and I was actually born here. Actually, my nationality is Dominican, from the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, my name is Alex. Both of my parents are Mexican. Born here. I'm a college student. I go to Delta University in Garden City, Long Island.
Awesome. So my first question, my first official question: what is metal, and what does it mean to you?
Wow.
Can I start?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
Why they follow you after?
A lot of people say metal is a genre, but I think we both agree that metal is a culture. Since I started listening to, I was introduced to metal by my best friend. After I started listening to Metallica and Children of Bodom and 3 Inches of Blood, it was just like it was more than music to me. I was going through hard times, with my parents, divorce and stuff, and metal gave me an outlet to express my feelings. It's a culture. Like, I dress metal. If I could eat metal, I would eat metal. But yeah, it's more than music to me.
Following what he said, yeah, metal for me is kind of an escape for me, because when he actually introduced me to metal in 6th grade, almost going to 7th, and by that time I was really getting bullied in school. Like, it was, you remember that. He introduced me to Slipknot, especially. Their lyrics saying that people don't listen to what people say, and like, do what you do, don't give a shit about anybody. It's just like, they gave me the voice that I didn't have. Basically, it just really changed me that way.
Awesome. So you guys did say metal is more of a culture than a subgenre. Can you describe what that culture is like?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing how you can make friends so fast just by listening to metal. If somebody's a metalhead and and you meet somebody who else is a metalhead, it's like automatically you click and you talk about different bands, well, members of the bands you like, different albums, what concerts you went to, what shows, and you just go back and forth. It's like there's no hate, because not everybody loves every band.
Yep.
It's just you connect. It's just instant connection.
And I feel like you can't see that in any other genre. You don't see
Yeah.
listeners of rap talking about their favorite rappers. We recently went to the Halloween parade, and we dressed up as members of Slipknot, and we also saw other people dressed up as members of Slipknot, and we got into like this little mini group, and we were just like talking about all the concerts that we've been to, all of our metal experiences, all of our favorite bands, and it's like. Yeah, we didn't get his number or anything, but
he was actually from India, which is actually really cool. He was
Yep.
He was an exchange student. He was going to what school was it?
NYU.
NYU, and that was actually pretty amazing. Being a metalhead from India.
Yep.
That's how far the culture has expanded.
Yeah, and you just the connection stayed for like life. If we like took down his number or like his contact information, I bet you would still be friends with him.
And we will go to shows with him.
Yep.
Definitely.
Yep.
Definitely.
Awesome. Cool. So you guys talked a little bit at first, but I just am wondering, how did it first enter your lives? Metal. Anyway.
For me, it was kind of like an evolution type of thing. It started off as rap, and then went into like this like soft rock, pop rock, and then it went into hard rock, like System of a Down and Korn and stuff like that, and then it went into metal. And I feel like, actually, I say this a lot. The first metal song I ever heard was "Aesthetics of Hate" by Machine Head, and what helped with that was like introducing like learning about metal was back then there was like LimeWire and FrostWire and all that stuff. I mean, I'm not saying illegal downloading, but it helped. It really did. It was before Spotify, before Pandora and all that. LimeWire. And my friend, he would make like these mix CDs, and that's another popular thing in metal culture. There's just like this underground trading of music. Like, back before CDs, back before MP3, there was cassettes, and people would just like trade cassettes. He kind of did the same thing with me with CDs, and he would give me like all these mix CDs that had Metallica and Bodom and Maiden. He would put a little. He was a little bit of a punk guy. He was Slayer. He was a little bit of a punk guy. He would put some AFI in there, And that's how I learned about metal. You know, he would give me these CDs, and I would just like listen to them.
I used to listen to a lot of rap, like he said, and actually the Spanish music, which is called reggaeton. I used to be one of those. Like kids, always wear the baggy shorts and stuff like that. But for me, the music always sounded the same. I got really, really tired of it. Like, especially for the Spanish music, they always have the same beat, always have the same, yeah. Basically, that's the beat that you hear in every song. And I wanted something different. At the time, like I said, I was getting bullied. I was really angry inside. So I just wanted, I wasn't a, physical angry kid. I was just, I was keeping it in here. But when I met him and my other friend Michael, um, they, Michael introduced me to like little bands like Green Day. Yeah, remember Green Day? And also there was another band I completely forgot. But then he introduced me to like I said, Slipknot. He introduced me to Bodom, Lamb of God, all the bands that I know now, and that really like made me the person I am today. I'm more open, um, not afraid to like speak my thoughts. It's just really opened me. Like the way I got into metal, I'll probably never regret it ever again. I
Yeah.
just
And a really good source of music, believe it or not, are libraries. Like here in Queens, they have public libraries that have CD collections, and you can take out CDs. And they had that's where I found out about System of a Down and Korn. They were from libraries. That's where I found out about them.
Cool. So can you describe what it was first like being a part of the scene? Like how did you first start to participate? Were you just listeners? Did you play instruments? Go to shows?
I actually ended up going to my first show last year, and I've been a metalhead since sixth grade. So I guess that's out of the question. I actually started listening to it first, and slowly graduating into like the clothes, the generally like the stereotypical black clothes that they say, and then especially my parents got into a little bit involved, like why are you dressing like this? It's hard for them to understand, especially because of their background. They're Spanish, and they're
Very
it's very
conservative.
very. As in, that's when the religion comes into play, but that's something else. And then yeah, once I told them, they actually listened to my music. Well, not listen. Well, I was blasting it in my room, and they asked me questions. But then after that, they kind of accepted it. But I go to shows now, and that's when I really started going. Like I bought band shirts, sweaters, shopped online, like these hats. I got them online. Started going to meet and greets, and like yes, just a bit CDs, especially buying full albums, even on iTunes and physical copies.
Yeah.
It's just yeah.
Like going into the media, I mean, like into the scene. I would say that I got into the scene around high school, sophomore year of high school. That's when I went into my first concert. It was Metallica, Lamb of God, and Volbeat at Madison Square Garden. But it wasn't your typical metalhead concert. I was sitting down in the stands, and what constitutes a metalhead concert is you have to be down there, standing up in front of the band, like 10 feet away from the band, and participating in like mosh pits and stuff, like crowd surfing, pushing people, and that's the scene. But I think I started getting to that late high school because I would dress, metal all the way. But I didn't participate in any of the activities. I think I felt the most metal was with Michael, the friend he mentioned earlier. We went to this CD listening party for Machine Head when they came out with Onto the Locusts, and we actually met the band and everything. Yeah, and we were hanging out with all these metalheads, and we were just talking with all of them. It was just like a hangout, and the scene has evolutionized a little bit from the 80s. Before it was kind of like drinking and drugs and all that, but now I think it's calmed down a little bit. I haven't been exposed to drugs like that in the metalhead scene.
Yeah.
It's kind of just like hanging out, talking about it.
Also, yeah, you actually, believe it or not, you actually might lose some friends because of what you listen to or what you have become, as they say. Because some people think, oh, you're like satanic, or like, oh, I don't want to be friends with you anymore. Actually, you lose a lot of friends, and family members look at you differently, which is really hard. It's hard for them to accept you, and like, I don't know. It's just like people want you to be like them, dress the way they are, not the way, because you're different to them, and just they can't accept that. So that's really hard.
So how do you participate in the culture now that you're a seasoned quote-unquote metalhead?
Just going to shows.
For me, it's following the bands. Following the bands. Like, different social media is very, very big now. Follow the bands on every social media, checking out their tour dates, especially their albums, their meetings, their meet and greets, as they say. Especially participating in shows, probably like the number one thing.
Yep.
Going to shows. Our last show that we went to was actually in January, right?
In January.
That was
December.
from
December. Slipknot.
No, Machine Head.
January.
It was January, yeah,
Forgot
and
about
that was a 2-hour show with just the band.
Oh my god.
And we actually bought that album, the album. I bought it on iTunes. I don't know if you bought it. You bought the physical copy. So we actually, we like to, how do you say, what's that?
It's right here in my car.
Yeah.
Take it everywhere.
2-hour show, Irving Plaza. It was a small venue, but it was crazy.
Yep.
It was really crazy. It was awesome.
And the scene, you kind of have to know where the venues are. We all know Irving Plaza. We all know Best Buy Theater. We all know what's that other one? Gramercy Theater.
Gramercy
before
Theater,
it was thrown down, Starland Ballroom. Was it Starland Ballroom? No, it was something Roseland
Ballroom.
Yep. Before it was thrown down in the city, you know all those venues. But if I had the money, I don't have money, but if I had the money, dude, I'd be going to so many more concerts. It's kind of like a mecca for the metalheads, but we have to go to Wacken. Wacken in Germany.
Wacken, oh man.
We have to go there.
I'm not for Bloodstock too, Bloodstock Festival, but also supporting the band is probably number one thing. Supporting the band. Buy their albums. Don't download them. Just support the band. Don't illegally download them. Don't try to get ways to get them for free. Don't find ways to get it for free. Whether it's iTunes, going to Best Buy, getting your ass up and just looking for the CD yourself. Me and him spent 20 minutes in the music session looking for one album, a physical copy, in Best Buy. And what was that album? I forgot. You couldn't find the band. Remember that we were in Wilson, Indiana? What was that band? The one in Union Square. Remember that? You probably don't remember.
I do remember. Revocation.
Revocation, that was the name, yeah. We asked multiple employees, we just couldn't find it. He refused to find it anywhere else unless you bought it on iTunes. But that also kind of supporting the band. I think that's the most important.
Okay. Do you think your age, race, / socioeconomic status has affected your role in the metal scene, and if so, how?
Just I guess the fact that economic status it hasn't allowed me to venture more into the music but I mean the internet it's like a bridge. If you don't have the money, you could always, instead of illegally download your Spotify now, so you could listen even though it's just shuffle, you could listen to Spotify and they give you the whole album there. But yeah, I mean, going to concerts, I would, if I had more money, I'd definitely be going to more concerts and buying more of their merch. Because right now, musicians right now can't make money by CD sales.
Yeah, by CD sales.
With the metalhead musicians, at least, making money from concert ticket sales and merch sales from said concerts.
It's pretty sad.
Yep. Unfortunately, that's the case now. And if I had more money, that's the only reason. But ethically, no. Ethically, I'm fine. It hasn't affected me and metal at all.
What about age?
Oh, and age. Yes, age. Yeah, if I was older, but when it comes to age, it's more of a parent thing, because I'm a certain age, my parents won't let me do certain things. Go out of the country by myself, go to Wacken by myself. But other than that, it's fine.
Tattoos of bands you want?
Oh, tattoos, yeah, tattoos.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to get band tattoos of our favorite bands, which is also restricted, but that's, I talked to them, we answer the medical community.
Just wait for me 5 months, we're gonna get that Slipknot tattoo.
There we go. And for me, I honestly think I'm the only Dominican metalhead you'll ever meet, because I honestly think there's no, I know that sounds stupid, of course there are, but there's a very small percentage of Dominican metalheads. So for me, if people meet me and they find out I'm Dominican, it's kind of like, oh, cool. It's not like, wow, you're Dominican. That's so weird. It's more like, that's so cool, because that expands the cultural, the metal community. Because you meet people from everywhere. Bands been touring to like India, Indonesia, Thailand,
Yeah, metal
Asian.
everywhere. Yep.
But I don't think metal bands have been to like the Caribbean tours, like Puerto Rico or like Dominican Republic, other countries like that.
Recently, they've been trying to do more of that.
Yeah, but other than that, yeah, this just shows the expansion of the culture. It's amazing.
I think Metallica is one of the only artists to play in Antarctica. They had this Antarctica
in all
show.
In all continents.
In all continents. Metallica is the
yeah.
only band
in all continents
to play in all continents. They did a show in Antarctica, and I think they recorded it.
In a dome, yeah. They did it in a dome, yeah.
They recorded it. It's called Freeze 'Em All if you want to check it out. And it's like a small, intimate concert for like about 100 people.
The Other Scientists too.
Yeah.
Scientists were there.
Yeah. But it's like, you don't hear, Nicki Minaj doing that. You don't hear Iggy Azalea, whatever her name is. Iggy Azalea, whatever, doing that. You don't.
Drake.
It's only metal.
The list goes on. Wade, Drake, whatever. Yeah, it's just only that.
Okie dokie. So does being a metalhead affect the relationships you make, whether they're family, romantic, or friendly, or friendships rather? Yeah.
At first it did. Not so much anymore. As you grow older, it kind of gets a little bit better. And as you grow older, you definitely mature. You kind of get out of the culture a little bit. Like I still dress metal, but at certain events or at certain occasions that I have to be at, I dress with a button up shirt and pants and all that. But before, it used to be a really big problem with my family. My mom and my dad coming both from very conservative, very religious backgrounds, and friendships. Kind of, yeah. I mean, still in high school, I would still kind of get shunned out of things because I'm a metalhead and kind of just I'm really, really, really passionate about metal. Even today, I talk about it. When people ask me, "Oh, who are you?" I say, "Oh, I'm a metalhead." That's literally the first thing I say. So even today, it doesn't affect as much, but before it definitely did.
For me, it's like he said. My parents also very conservative, religious. It's just the way they look at it. They see metal, they see the devil. It's like that. It's crazy. It's ignorant, obviously, but it's the way they come from. I can't blame them for it. I mean, but also the friends that I've made are amazing. I want to change it for the world. Relationship wise, for me, it's kind of difficult to meet a girl who likes different tastes of music, but also I'll try to learn or try to reason why they like that type of music. But for me, I don't know. It's just I can't. For me, I want a metalhead girlfriend. That's the relationship part.
Yeah.
And other than that, yeah. I
but
just can't
see,
see
we're not all the way on the extreme.
Yeah.
Because there are these things called metalhead elitists, and they don't listen to anything else. It's just all about metal, and I don't think I'm like that.
We listen to other music.
I like other things too. I am very passionate about metal. Metal is my first thing to listen to, but elitists like that aren't beneficial to the overall appearance of metalheads at all. They think that metalhead is the #1 genre and everything else is shit, but that's not right at all.
We both are actually big fans of Eminem, so that's a fun fact. We're actually really big fans of Eminem.
He just went to a Hollywood Undead concert.
I just went to a Hollywood Undead concert.
They're not metal.
They're not metal. They're rock, I guess. They have some rock elements in them. You can't deny that. They're more rap. More rap. Yeah. I actually went to their show and it was actually pretty good. I actually had a lot of fun.
I'm still a very huge fan of the Black Eyed Peas. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. What are the different subgenres of metal, and do the subgenres affect the different subcultures? Which are your favorites? Why?
Wait, I need a
Do you have like a couple hours?
I need a
we need like a pen or a paper. There's over like about 250 subgenres, I think, or 250 genres of metal that I know of. When I saw the documentary Journey to Metal, remember that? They showed a whole tree, and the tree stretched from the top of the screen to the bottom of the screen. It was connected to like 150 different branches. So a lot of genres. You want to start? Just to name a few.
Let's just start from the top.
The top.
Heavy metal.
Heavy metal. God.
Thrash metal.
Thrash metal, of
Power
course.
metal.
Power metal. Speed metal is counts.
Speed metal. Black metal.
Death metal.
Death metal. Black metal.
Progressive.
Progressive metal.
Oh my gosh.
Technical metal.
Folk metal.
Deathcore.
Folk metal.
Metalcore.
There's you said black metal?
Yeah, I said black metal.
Black metal.
The new wave of American
The new
metal.
wave of American metal. Yeah, I didn't do that. There's another one. You gotta name different bands. New metal.
New metal.
There's new metal. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a huge one. There's
Symphonic metal.
I honestly like symphonic metal.
Symphonic metal.
So what are the differences? Or I mean, you don't have to go into the differences of all of them, but like, you know, pick some of your favorites. Explain like what the music sounds like and how the culture is a reflection of that.
Okay.
Blah 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 blah.
The differences between the subgenres are tone.
Yeah, basically tone.
It's like, you know, different things that you have in the music. It's just like, let's say, speed metal versus, let's say, new metal, right?
Yeah, exactly.
New metal has like sort of like this hip hop edge with it, with a little bit of like experimental.
It has very fluid lyrics.
And it has very experimental like noises, like I don't know how to explain.
Yeah, like different bass sounds, Like Slipknot, for example, they have a DJ and a sampler.
Yep.
Which and also Korn has a keyboardist. So that's another example with
And like speed metal is just about, you know, fast, like how fast you can go, RPM.
For example, a band like Dragon Force is very fast, very fast.
RPM is like RPMs are like over 200. You know. Cultural differences. I don't think cultural differences there are none.
No, except for folk metal. Folk metal is very, very popular. Almost only in Europe, pretty much.
Okay.
Like bands like Interferum. You never heard of them?
Yeah, I've heard of them.
We're actually playing in actually going to play in Gramercy, I think.
Oh, cool.
And another band, also Viking metal. There's Viking metal, which is actually pretty fucking cool. Yeah, and then they're pretty folk metal. They're actually very popular over there. Children of Bodom, symphonic black metal, there.
Children of Bodom?
Melodic
death metal,
which is another genre that we missed. Also very popular in Europe because they're from Finland. So yeah.
But there are no cultural differences.
Yeah, no.
You're a metalhead. You're a brother.
Sure, you could tell out their accents between the folk metal and maybe depending on it also depends on the singer, but mostly you could tell the accents from like folk metal. There's
like
definitely an accent.
If you meet like a metalhead that likes more of a specific subgenre than another, you can't tell the difference. One of the only differences, I guess, is what band they have on their shirt. That's how you could tell. But other than that, no.
Yeah, like, then you could feel out the type of genre they like. Like if I see him with a Sepultura shirt.
Yeah, it's like.
I know he likes like Testament, Exodus.
Thrash metal,
basically.
Death metal, like
Metallica, Anthrax. The list goes on. Slayer, especially. The list goes on, yeah.
Like, and the thing with subgenres is like bands dabble in multiple subgenres. You know, Slayer dabbled in black metal. They dabbled in thrash metal. They dabbled in so many things. Sepultura dabbled in thrash and death metal. Yeah, Metallica. They went pop for a little bit. Thrash metal.
Oh god, thrash was the main part.
Yeah.
They had a couple. I mean, not heavy, but you know, and Justice for All was pretty good.
Metallica, for some reason, kind of went grunge metal because there was a big time in the '90s where it kind of went into grunge, like Nirvana and Soundgarden and all that.
Yeah.
So a lot of the bands kind of took on that grungy feel. And the '90s are considered like the time where metal almost died. And then, you know, the comeback was, you know, thousands. You know, Pantera had a really big role in bringing metal back. But yeah, during the '90s, everything was kind of just like grungy. It was kind of all weird.
Yeah.
Weird music, weird metal.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about all these subgenres is that there's a metal for everybody. Like each person can love one type of metal, and there's a metal genre for everybody. That's what I meant to say.
Well, what's your favorite? I think it depends on the time too. Like
I think mine is either thrash and I like thrash and like thrash and heavy. I'm a really big thrash metal fan, like a huge thrash metal fan.
And I'm very into technical stuff. So I'm more like
technical
death metal.
Death metal, yeah.
And into groove metal. I'm a huge Lamb of God Pantera fan.
Me too, yeah. Same. Pantera, Lamb of God, yeah. We're actually going to see them in August.
So you guys did say it started dying in the 90s. Do you think metal culture is dying today?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
so many bands right now coming out with new albums. The list goes on. Anthrax is coming out with a new album. Metallica's working on a new album. Slayer's working on a new album. Megadeth's working on a new album. With a new drummer. Lamb of God's working on a new album.
Yep.
King 810 is working on another album. The
Yep.
list goes on and on and on. Can you name some bands working on another album? Oh my god.
Well,
I love it. It's amazing.
I haven't been
metal's
following
alive.
up. The thing is, he just mentioned a lot of old bands, but there are a lot of new bands coming out.
Yeah, also, yeah.
There's this band called Blackhorn Initiate. They're just blowing the charts. There's this band called Rivers of Nihil. Yeah, I mean, these are all death metal bands, but they're freaking awesome, and they're changing the metal scene.
Yep.
And for the good. Like, I'm all about musical technicality. So when I hear something more, when I hear something more than just like, the ordinary like chuggy riff, I get excited.
Yeah.
Because
the squeals and stuff, yeah.
Metal is constantly evolutionizing, and it just makes me happy.
It's just like they try to outbeat each other, different bands. It's crazy how technical they can get with their music. It's
Periphery. This is Periphery.
I saw them live so good.
That's
a great show.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say something. AC/DC just came out with a new, which is amazing.
Cool.
And Iron Maiden, the album is done. We're just waiting on Bruce Dickinson to beat cancer right now.
Yep.
Which he will definitely.
Yep.
And then they're gonna release their album. So we got classic bands still coming back.
Yep.
Which is just phenomenal, man. It's staying alive right now. It's gonna stay alive.
And soon you're gonna see us in a concert. We're making our own band. So.
Learning bass right now, but that doesn't matter. Let's go.
In what ways has being a part of the metal scene shaped you and affected your identity?
Yeah, I kind of mentioned this before. I eat, breathe, listen to metal. When I introduce myself, one of the first things I say is I'm a metalhead. And they wouldn't ever figure it. Like right now, I have short hair, and they would be like, oh wow, you don't seem like the guy. But then I take out my wallet, take out my wallet, take out my student ID from freshman year. As you can see, I kind of almost look like a girl there. But yeah, identity. Yeah, identity a lot actually, because the music of heavy metal kind of touches on sensitive topics. I become a little bit of a pessimist because of metal. I kind of have like a more of a I'm not like a chipper happy guy all the time. I mean, I like humor, I like jokes, but I know what the reality of the matter is. I know what the fuck's going on with the world. Like war and blood and killing.
Especially one of those bands.
You have political bands that actually talk about what's going on in the world.
Not just America, the whole world, which is amazing.
Yep. And it kind of does make you aware. I think because of metal, I've become more self-aware of what's going on in the world. And it's pushed me to go into a direction where I want to learn more information. So you could kind of say that because of metal, I read the New York Times, or I follow the news and all this, It has positive effects. And, shame on the people that think that metal is just about pushing people and punching people and killing and Satan. And it's not.
Pretty much what it is. Fire.
It's very educational, in fact. So.
Nice.
Yep.
Very, very nice vocabulary too. They're very good vocabulary.
Yep. My final question, or not even a final question, just if you guys have any final thoughts or any ideas that you would like to share that you didn't cover in answering any of the questions, feel free to do that now. Anything.
I would say, if you're having a tough time, if you are not a physical fighter, it's like metal gives you that voice that you needed when you need it the most. It's my escape. It's always gonna be there.
Yeah, and you never tire of it. You're always listening to it. It's just more than the music. Yeah, I kind of want to emphasize that. It's just more than the music. There's videos. There's clothing. Hanging out. When I was
supporting the band.
Yep.
That's how passionate we are.
Yep.
I'm actually getting tattoos by August 8th.
Hopefully.
So yeah.
After my birthday.
Yeah, after his birthday. So yeah. So that should be
Oh,
awesome.
the metal horn. The metal horn. Okay, it's not satanic. Okay, let me. This is not. Okay, this does not mean that you love metal. This shows brotherhood. This is.
And every single metal show, the bands will always put the horns up. It's just.
Yep.
And everybody just. In sync is just.